Another month in 2020, another newsletter chock full of controversial theories and facts, now condensed down into an easier to swallow format. I dare say we have videos this day! As of late, chaos has enveloped everyone on a national scale, unless of course you're of the Ted Kaczynski variety.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives, and unfortunately there's plenty to go around.
Now what?
My group is Insurgents USA. We fucking about to burn this shit down. Fuck this shit.
If you found in this shit, more than you fighting people, you're not with us.
Hey, sounds
You're not with us. You're not with us.
It's beyond Black Lives Matter now. It's about people doing what they want now. It's just having Kenosha as their free for all. Yeah, they protest, but half of the time it's just not rioting.
And here at the studio, we have entertained such global news headlines with a grain of salt, trying not to fall sway to the fear they love to peddle to us cattle. Their word, not mine. So, starting this month, moving forward, we will not only talk about things of the political or social variety, but also add in a little of the inspiring kind. But first things first. Let's briefly start on a political note, quickly diving into the current climate of our American sanctuary cities and how they are faring during these mostly peaceful protests. Elsewhere, there's one who came out of the woodwork to protect his turf from any more riot-incurred damage, and at some points even provided aid to the very same people who were setting the buildings ablaze.
A man who police identified as Rittenhouse runs across the parking lot of an auto service shop, followed by a shirtless man who was later identified as Joseph Rosenbaum. Moments later, shots ring out, and the shirtless man falls to the ground. Rittenhouse can be seen standing by the body making a phone call. As more people arrive, he runs away out of frame. At 11:49, multiple videos show Rittenhouse running down the street as a pursuer tries to hit him. Rittenhouse is being chased by several people when he appears to stumble and falls to the ground. While on the ground, police say he fires at least 4 shots, striking 2 people. Rittenhouse gets up and runs down the street as police arrive at the scene. Rittenhouse raises his hands while his rifle hangs around his torso.
The question in this particular example is whether or not Kyle Rittenhouse was rightfully using his Second Amendment right to defend himself against several attackers. Or is he just another mass shooting, white supremacist, Caucasian male, and a long line of soon-to-be homegrown terrorists?
Attorney John Pierce says that teenager finished his workday as a lifeguard before a local business owner called him and a friend asking for help in protecting his business.
Tonight, Kyle Rittenhouse's attorney says this video shows his 17-year-old client was working to help people in Kenosha the night he allegedly killed 2 people. Lawyer John Pierce insists Rittenhouse was defending himself when he fired his assault rifle several times.
Ask yourself. If an angry mob of fervently validated people accosted you in a fit of rage, would you attempt to defend your person? Or leave yourself at the mercy of your self-righteous abusers? Several times before, I have touched on how it's quite possible that most of the technological conveniences of our modern era are more of a hindrance than a boon to our individually free selves. How mainstream social media and the devices that perpetuate it is more of an easy way to spy on you and yours, rather than a digital medium to share what you ate at 2 p.m. or what your dog was barking at 7:15 a.m.
The phone is turned off, or at least the screen is turned off. It's sitting there, it's powered on. Every smartphone, every phone at all, is constantly connected to the nearest cellular tower. Every phone, even when the screen is off, you think it's doing nothing, you can't see it because radio frequency emissions are invisible. And so your phone is sitting there doing nothing, you think, but it's constantly shouting and saying, I'm here. Who is closest to me? That's the cell phone tower. So you're going to be bound to this cell phone tower, and that cell phone tower is going to make a note, a permanent record, saying this phone handset with this phone number at this time was connected to me. But what this means is that whenever you're carrying a phone, whenever the phone is turned on, there's a record of your presence at that place that is being made and created by companies. It does not need to be kept forever, and in fact, there's no good argument for it to be kept forever, but these companies see that as valuable information. But now, these things are stored. Now, these things are saved. It doesn't matter whether you're doing anything wrong. It doesn't matter whether you're the most ordinary person on Earth, because that's how bulk collection, which is the government's euphemism for mass surveillance, works.
How companies like Disney, Amazon, and Microsoft are consolidating every business they can get their hands on, transforming into a technocratic oligarchical beast with tentacles capable of piercing into every crevice of your life.
That's over a $583 billion surge of wealth across the 0.001%. While 1.5 million working-class Americans applied for unemployment benefits just last week. Since working-class Americans and small business owners were the ones who were told by the government that they had to shut down their businesses during this time, even though businesses like Amazon remained open despite the stories of numerous outbreaks that occurred in their facilities. I covered a story back in February about how a record number of major American CEOs stepped down at the beginning of 2020. Among the CEOs who stepped down were the CEOs of Disney, MasterCard, L Brands, otherwise known as Victoria's Secret, Uber Eats, Hulu, MGM, IBM, Salesforce, and LinkedIn. A Nestle CEO, Lockheed Martin, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, Nokia, you get the picture. You've got a good mix of corporatocracy juggernauts, banking creatures, and government contractors. But what's most interesting about these CEOs who stepped down at the beginning of 2020 was that their company stocks peaked in early February and tanked in March. So if these corporate executives did have knowledge that the economy was going to take a major hit, then by resigning in January and February, this allowed these corporate CEOs to cash out on their company stocks that they would otherwise be forced to keep while employed at the company.
How the people who own these industries and those that support them are the very same villains who want to leave you desperate and fighting in the gutter while they writhe with excitement boarded up in their neon-soaked towers.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized up to the right.
I said if we were in high school, I'd take you behind the gym and beat the hell out of them.
Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
That's it right there, pull it up.
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
I will go and take Trump out tonight.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
I have touched on these subjects before, and it seems I've done so again. Whoops! Now that we got all that depressing bullshit out of the way, let's don our hipster glasses for the newest of topics to grace the RYS newsletter. Amazing scientific discoveries! Most people may have overlooked this, but back in 2014, a couple of scientific institutions found evidence of the existence of an underground ocean larger than all of our surface-bearing oceans combined.
When we say that there are giant reservoirs of water hiding deep under the ocean, we mean fresh water, as you and I would recognize it, that we could drink, like water, about 2,800 cubic kilometers of it. Just to emphasize how freaking big that is, that's enough to fill over 1 billion Olympic swimming pools. But when geologists and geophysicists started to explore how big these pockets actually are, they were floored. A collaborative team from Columbia University and Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution used 2 different marine electromagnetic methods to pulse the seafloor. The water's origin story may mean that aquifers like this could provide us with clues about the glaciers and sea levels of the past. But the team also believes that these undersea aquifers are being supplied with new fresh water from subterranean systems.
Not in the usual form of fresh water as we know it, but rather encased inside an unusual mineral known as ringwoodite within a thick layer of the Earth.
The body of water rests about 400 miles underneath Earth's crust and is so large it can fill all our oceans 3 times over. Their research, however, indicates the water is not in the typical liquid, ice, or vapor forms, but instead is trapped in mantle rock containing a blue mineral called ringwoodite. Ringwoodite has a structure similar to crystal that acts like a sponge to trap liquid and pull in hydrogen.
Ringwoodite have been proposed as one of the major minerals in the deep Earth for the past 50 years, but no one had ever held a piece of ringwoodite in their hand that had come from those depths to be able to prove that that's the case.
Scientists have been looking for this missing deep water for decades.
It's funny how not too long ago, and probably still going on to this day, our textbooks in school showed us an Earth with several molten layers leading to an iron core in the center. I suppose with this new intriguing discovery, we might just have to make room for a few choice edits.
You know what's crazy is that we've been taught ever since elementary school that the inside of the Earth looks like this, but did you know that the deepest we've ever gotten inside the Earth is only around 8 miles, and everything else is just a theory. So yeah, I think there could absolutely be a vast ocean within this planet, and who knows what else is down there.
Thank you so much for watching this month's Ronin Yeti Studio newsletter. If you had the time, please check out this month's project, or this month's shout out. We'll see you next time.